My name is Andrew C. Zinn. I live in Anniston, Alabama. I'm a Taurus, ladies, and I do vocals for Nothing New. For me, I would say it's a little more experimental than Sean. I try to do some different, I don't know, vocal patterns and almost at time, and I growl. So uh, for those of y'all that listen to us, uh, I growl. So and there's trying to have I guess a little bit of harmony within the growls here and there. There's a little bit of that. You can decide for yourself whether I executed that properly or not. So yeah, for me, it's a little more experimental. But as far as the thing as a whole, it's more of Nothing New but better. Um, the the mixture of New Orleans stuff, your Crowbar, I Hate God, Soylent Green, um, black metal, whatever, Emperor, Mayhem. Wasn't listening to a lot of death metal during that, if any. To be honest, probably just 6 Feet Under. To really kind of listen to what Chris Barnes is doing, and you're just my random stuff that's not metal, Squirrel Nut Zippers or Sharon Van Etten, Muddy Waters, The Doors, classic rock stuff, and that's pretty much it. Not really obsessing on anything, kind of like I am currently. I've got a few bands that I'm listening to right now that I'm like really staying hooked on, but just kind of like all over the place musically. Um, I know it's going to sound like a small kind of silly thing, but a lot of when you growl like I do, I would say if there is such a word as percussive, what I do is more, and most I guess probably heavy vocal, growling vocalists would tell you this, that what you do is more, it's more like drums than it is anything else, because you're not singing. So for for me it was um, sometimes some parts in the other albums, and I'm gonna cite Philip Anselmo in the song Walk. Respect, walk. He has that break between re and spect. For him it's working, but I was having breaks between words that I just really didn't care for, and I was trying to get the syllables and hitting stuff on the beats, trying to get the syllables to for words not to be as separated as much as they were on previous stuff. And it's probably something that only I hear, but it was like a personal gripe with myself. And that's the beautiful thing about the way we write. And we write so quickly because it's just the two of us, that I can, we can do it that quick, and that in real time. I don't have to wait. Just any little like personal gripes that I have with, I didn't like this part about this song, or I didn't like what I was doing here, I can correct it so much quicker with the way we write. And again, it was for me, it's that each album finding things that I don't like, or with each song trying to correct things that I don't like. Long story short. Um, the lyrics I write, I purposefully write everything where it's interchangeable. Like any parts of the song, anything that I've written could be interchanged with anything else for the most part. And I keep it all in a little small notebook. Again, it's all pretty stream of consciousness. Sometimes I'll come up with stuff, just just something will come to me or something will come at me, and I write it down. But I'd say, I hate to say this, but the bulk of it is just sitting down and having a few beers, maybe listening to some music or watching a movie or something like that, and just writing what comes out of my head. And then once it's applied to the music, when Jerry sends me the songs via email, and then I listen to that and figure out how the vocal patterns will fit, or what vocal patterns I'm going to use, and then I just pull from that notebook. And again, it doesn't necessarily, because it's the lyrics are stream of consciousness, I don't really have to sweat about well, this song needs to be about this, or I get the sensation from this song that it needs to be about this, with the exception of honestly, I can't remember the name of the song. It is Work to Death. It specifically Jerry had the idea that it specifically needed to be about the bullshit that we go through to make a paycheck. Debt slavery, being a slave to that, being a slave to a job, which I guess in this climate, we should all be thankful to have jobs in this world, but not at the risk of being subjugated. But to pull it back again, it's all the lyrics are interchangeable, and I just kind of get everything to fit the way that I need to. Better still. I had a Coach Hobblesell, if you're out there, wherever you're listening. I'm sure you're not watching this, but he almost every practice he would say, if you're doing this, if you're staying the same, you're doing this. But if you're always getting better, if you're always, improve each week with every song, with every lyric, with every vocal that you do, or in Jerry's case, every riff he comes up with, if you're always getting better, you're always getting better. And again, it's so much more so because as quick as we write, I can keep improving upon what I don't like. What was the original question? Better, not great. I think Ozzy Osbourne said he was always searching for, I think a specific Beatles album. Like he's always been chasing, I want to say it was Sgt. Pepper. Like he's always, when Ozzy writes, when he writes his albums, and I may be totally misquoting this, but I hope I'm not, Ozzy, if you're listening. Probably not. But he said he's always been, every album that he writes, all the music that he does, he's always searching, he's always chasing that Beatles album. And for me, with us, it's Relapse Part 2. There's something, it was off our first EP, Transcend. There's something magical, dirty, sweaty, stinky, unsober about that song, and I'm always chasing that, trying to recatch that. I think the term is lightning in a bottle. Always chasing Relapse Part 2 to get that magic again of what I felt like is just really a perfect song. I've been trying to get better about that, and it's when you're a band that's like you're doing regular live shows, you're probably the weeks that you're not doing live shows, you're probably practicing at least once that week. So you keep your chops, you keep your you keep that in shape. With us, it's a little bit different because we don't practice. It's completely a recording project. So I have to do. You can laugh at me all you want, but I try to do karaoke in the car to get my. I'll put on probably Crowbar self-title, maybe Sepultura, Chaos AD or something like that, or Broken Glass by Crowbar and just do karaoke in the car with it, to get my voice back in shape. Forever how long, usually it's not very long between the times that we record, but I'm going to try. I'm not going to try, but I am going to do better to not feel like I'm letting myself down and let Jerry down, to practice more, do more karaoke in the car to keep the vocal, to keep the pipes strong, so I don't feel like I don't know, sounding dry or sounding like the vocals sound bubbly, or not as strong as they could. Um, with me, I do like three different tones, I guess you'd say. One is like a death metal tone. One is kind of a medium, or like the hardcore, that guy, and then a higher up, black metal thing. Early on in recording, we would do all of them on one channel on the thing there, and it made it difficult because the death metal is just, from a volume standpoint, the death metal is not as loud as the medium versus the black metal thing. So I strongly, if you're doing different vocal, I guess you call them timbers, I recommend recording them on different channels on the, well, we don't have a board anymore, but different channels on your recording software. It'll make whoever's mixing it down, which happens to be Jerry for us, bless him for jumping on that grenade. But it'll make their life a lot easier trying to get the volume of your vocals to match the music itself. NothingNewMetal.com. 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 Keep more of the. Again, I hate to rip off whoever said more of the same but better. Actually, I think I was probably Phil Anselmo, honestly. More of the same but better. What I've observed from and this is crazy, we haven't even released the new album Indictment. Haven't even released it. I think it releases in about 7 days, give or take. And we're like already, Jerry's already 5 songs. He sent me 5 songs worth of music for a next album. I've only, I'm coming to record the second one for that today. And then we got the other, I think Jerry might have touched on it, but we have we're planning on pressing a 7-inch. That song is kind of a different, the sound, Jerry was using a different, I believe he was like, I think with the new album he's been going completely digital instead of running through, and he can maybe go back and in another interview can go back and correct the errors that I'm saying here. I think he's completely digital on this one, where he was using a head and then effects processor or whatever. Bottom line, in whatever I'm saying wrong, bottom line is what his sound is different now on this album. So we had kind of a leftover song that never that we were intending to put on Indictment, but because of the pandemic happening, the lockdown and everything, I was like, dude, why don't we've got enough material here, why don't we just release it, and then we'll actually be, because I know everybody's been sitting at home writing music, and I thought it was a great idea. Let's just go ahead and release it, and we'll be ahead of the power curve, because I got a feeling there's going to be tons of albums coming out, however long it takes for people to get back in the studios or get back together and start recording all this stuff that they've written while they've been on lockdown. So there's that. So there's a 7-inch. We're gonna try to get that out there, and again, keep recording, keep getting better. I'm approaching this album, and again, back to those about 5 songs that Jerry has sent me. Just straightforward, no no experimentation, no nonsense, heavy. And that's what I've been, maybe a little bit of trying to be a little bit weird. I like weird stuff I've never heard. Like, man, I've never heard anything like that. I always like that stuff. But for the most part, just straightforward, heavy, no nonsense, no bullshit. With me approaching the vocal patterns and my vocals themselves, no no frills, no experimentation, just direct, as heavy as I can be, and keep it as, I guess, doom. The term doom is so overused in these days, but something that it's heavy, but people can kind of vibe out to, or I don't smoke or whatever, but people can smoke a few bowls too, and like just kind of zone out to it or vibe out or whatever they call it, like something that hits that nerve or hits that spot, I guess you'd say.